My husband and I do a community radio station show called Book, Stage and Screen. So we're both writers, and we thought we'd do this so that we got to meet other good creative people. Well, it's pretty easy, to be honest. It's like, I guess, community television. You pitch them an idea, and if there's a slot available, you pay your fees, and then they train you, and then you do just a half-hour little test. And then if they think you're ready, then they let you go on air.
Oh, like a little pilot sort of?
Yeah, you just go in and record it, and they listen to it and give you some feedback. There's only a few switches, so it's not too hard. We haven't had any dead air yet, thank God. Yeah, there is a training process. You go and look at a show, an established show, and then you sit with the training manager, and they just take you through what the switches are, levels and things like that. I can't remember what the exact inspiration was. We thought it was a really good idea to be able to talk to people that we might like to talk to, and as it turns out, we haven't had anyone say no to us yet. We've spoken to some very successful authors and producers and people on stage. And I think that's because we sort of approach it that, you know, we're very positive, we want to promote your work, and we also want to share your tips and how you started to sort of help other ones coming up. Well, it's been wonderful in terms of, I really enjoyed the book The Rosie Project by Graham Simpson. He's a local Melbourne author, and I guess one thing that interested us about him was that he did the RMIT screenwriting course, tried to write a movie called The Rosie Project. Nobody would make it, so he thought he'd write a book, and he sold 6 million copies of it, and now he's writing the screenplay of his own book. So we got to interview him on his latest book, so that was really exciting. We've interviewed Gristmill, Wayne Hope from Gristmill just recently. He does Upper Middle Bogan. Yeah, we have sort of segments in between the interviews. So Gordon talks about box office. He has quite an interest in the marketing of films and all kinds of films. And I do shout outs, so we talk about local productions or opportunities for writers or actors or anything that we see, because there is a lot around, but sometimes it's hard to know about it. So we hope that we can give people that might listen and just think, well, maybe that's the thing for me to go and try, and or meet people and network. Or I've written a book that was published last year with HarperCollins, an e-book called Dating the Alphabet, so a romantic comedy. So a girl decides her plan of attack to finding someone is to date people just based on the letter of their name. A for Albert, B for Barry. But I mean, that was just the concept. The sort of the real story is, you know, unless you kind of know yourself, you're not really going to meet someone that's for you yet. You've got to kind of work out who you are. It was a great experience. Writing a novel isn't something I'd done before, but I had pitched it to producers as a sitcom. And in Australia, unless you're a stand-up comedian or have quite a big following, it's very hard to get a television show up. So I just said that I was going to write it as a book. I had no idea how to do that, but I just started, and then went to a pitching course or a place where you could pitch to HarperCollins, and sort of implied that I'd already written it, and she said, great, send it to me. And I kind of went, oh, and then I had to write it. Well, I had it as a sitcom, so I did have these 6 episodes, so that was the structure and the jokes and the setups. But to write it was about 6 months. I did 1,500 words a day, 5 days a week, and that builds up pretty quickly, which is good. My father is a journalist, my grandmother was a journalist, my husband's a screenwriter. So I think if you're around people that are doing it, it's not unusual just to sit down and start writing. I started with a blog, just thought if I can write 500 words, and sort of did that, and find your voice that you kind of want to write.
It could be in your blood as well, with all these journalists and things.
Well, it could be. I think monkey see, monkey do. You know, if you're around people typing away,
you get inspired.
It's not, inspiring, and it's not an unusual situation for you to sit down and think, oh, I'll just write something. My husband, I met him at a theatre restaurant. We didn't know each other, but we worked at a place called Bobby McGee's, which doesn't exist anymore, but was very big at the time. So I was dressed as Snow White, and he was dressed as Groucho Marx. That's how we met.
Oh, very
So you
cute.
spent, singing, not by yourself, thank God, but that's how we met. Not many people can say that. We've got a web series called The Wedding Sisters, which is about to be released. So hopefully something will come of that. It's 3 sisters who work in the dysfunctional wedding industry. So one's a celebrant, one's a stylist, one's basically the bookkeeper. Just a funny 3-4 minute little series. It's just kind of when web series are really good to get an idea out there and get the tone of what you're trying to say. And it was really wonderful to work with these 3 amazing actresses and sort of bring the characters to life, which for a writer is wonderful because you're just typing away thinking you're hilarious. So it's just like instead of going to television, you'd go to YouTube and watch it. Yeah, so the first one's setting it up, setting the world. The second one is called Crafternoon. So the bride has hired the 3 girls and they got all excited because they're invited to this Crafternoon. Turns out it's nothing more than a sweatshop really for making bonbonnieres. And then, but one's highly competitive, so she wants to make like 125. And then at the end she gets a prize for being the best Crafternooner, and it's to be invited to the Hens Night Crafternoon. We got some great guys to come in, do sound and camera work for us, and Gordon's a director, so you can always call in your husband to do these things. So we did that, and the actresses, we'd sort of met through different projects as well, so that was exciting. Well, it'd be great to find a paid platform to do our work. We're enjoying what we're doing at the moment. You get to work with great creative people, so but it would be nice to sort of sustain yourself, I guess, and to be able to pay people that you work with. It's always nice in the creative field. For kids that are interested in the creative field, there's a lot more out there than I think people know. Social media is a great way of finding out about that. And once you kind of like one page, others will come up. But don't be scared to have a go at making a film and putting it into festivals. Lots of people love kids having a go with films and whatever. They really like the youth have got a different perspective on things. So just have a go and enter. And also contact people. Be professional and be sincere and polite. But people are willing to help and give advice as well. I find that even now, if I'd ask, so if someone young came and asked us for advice, I'd be happy to help. So don't be scared to just shoot an email or a Twitter or whatever.